can start.
Yeah,
all right.
start.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to an interesting session of reading the book. Today, we're going to talk about some very interesting people, all of whom we find in our workplace. And we'll talk specifically about how do we deal with these difficult people. So may I now request Preeti to talk about how do you deal with a backstabber?
Mhm. Yeah, as Neetu mentioned, this chapter is about the backstabbers, the people who pretend to be your friends, but sometimes they can actually they can just talk rubbish about you to make your image go bad. So this one is about when someone who you really like or work with, and that goes behind your back and talks bad about you. In this situation, in this chapter, they are talking about two friends who actually both agree that they are the best workers, but one of the friends goes behind the friend's back and talks to other co-workers and talks that they are not up to their mark and they are not working well. So in this situation, how to deal with such kind of people, so that is the this chapter about. And it says that you should always keep your calm, never ever react immediately when you are angry. Of course, since you have been talking about the same situation, and when you hear such kind of someone talking about you, the same person talking about you, you feel like you are you get hurt actually. But never go to that person in an emotional state when you are angry or when you are highly emotional. So first, think about the situation, play around different scenarios in your mind, so that how it can come back to you, and how you can, if you are willing to solve the problem, then you have to play around in different situation. Don't react. And when you talk, you should gain better understanding by defining clearly, talking specifically about the situation. Do not beat about the bush, because probably the person might think, what are they talking about? So it is always good to talk clearly with the person. Use the I phrase, talk about your emotions, that how you were hurt, so that they understand that they have actually um, done something. uh, Also offer the solutions. Do not always go with the complaint. Do not always go for accusing or something. Do offer solutions. Do tell how it can be solved. And if there is, when the conversation is going on, agree on the resolution, how you can resolve the situation, how you can work further, and then apply all these things into uh, in your life. Another thing that you should not do is, when you are in a group of co-workers, never ever be part of the conversation or agree to something if someone is talking about someone, bad mouthing someone. Also, do not confront the backstabber when you are as I said before, when you are angry, do not confront them, because they also might be going through some emotional state, and so it will not resolve the solution, but the problem. But always go when you are calm, you have played the scenario in your mind. um, and of course, whenever you have talked about it, end the conversation with the resolution, or always or the reconciliation. But once you have done that, always remember that person have done to you, so that you just do not fall into the same trap again. This is what I learned from this chapter.
Thank you so much, Preeti. Very interesting. I think it talks again about the 5 stages of reconciling and starting with the I phase and all of that. So without further ado, I'll request Ashika to talk about the Brownnoser.
Thank you, Neelu. Brown nosers are people who like to flatter their bosses or flatter people in positions. Okay, so brown nosers flatter for favors. They suck up for their personal gain, and they grab attention by giving compliments and adulations. Okay, they butter up people who can help them succeed, and they do this because they want to gain an advantage, a promotion, or a special favor from the person whom they are buttering up. Now, how to deal with such people? You apply peer pressure by making jokes, comments to the person, trying to embarrass them may be effective. But again, if they are thick skinned, then you can't do anything about it, right? Some people are like that. Uh, you can also ignore the person and just focus on what you are doing. So you position yourself and you work on your achievements. Speak to the boss if you feel that he or she is showing favoritism. Talk to the boss because it is he who is creating a problem if he is showing favoritism to the person who is buttering them up. Now, the person over here, what did she face was that one of the person was buttering up the boss and gaining favors, coming late in the morning and saying that I will do that extra work half an hour. If I'm late, I will do that work in the afternoon during lunch. Okay, but then during the morning, it was a time when maximum client, you have to call up and do those work. So the co-workers feel that it is not fair that she comes in late and they have to do all the work amongst themselves. So the approach that the person who is facing this problem, what she did was, first she thought about it and she planned the conversation. Why did she plan the conversation? Because she wanted to focus on facts and not complaints. Okay, so think about what you want to say as facts, so that it doesn't sound like a complaint and the person is not defensive. Then second, you explain the situation and its impact on the team. So what, because of that person's what she's doing or what he is doing, how is the team affected? So talk about that. Then help the boss see the issue from your perspective. So tell the boss that this is how we feel. So again, like you said, I use the I terminology. Then you propose a compromise that benefits everyone. So it's not that only one person is getting that benefit. If it is the case, then let each one of them also get benefit, and you come to a compromise. Then after doing that, you confirm the solution and then emphasize that it is for teamwork that they are doing this, and not, to be fair with everyone. And while doing this, you have to be assertive, you have to be professional, focus on solutions and not on acquisitions. Now, if the boss doesn't budge and it continues to happen, then you focus on your work. But still, if it happens, then people leave bosses, not companies. So you are not a tree, move.
Thank you, Ashika. That was interesting. Brown nosers. I had a very interesting observation to make here. This is what you spoke about was from the perspective of a co-worker, right? I would like to understand, since you're so experienced and I'm sure you've dealt with some people like these. How do you deal with them as a boss?
Like they have put on over here, that you need to talk to the boss. And if the boss feels that, nay, you are just thinking, it is just in your head, then you try to work, okay? But still, if you feel that it is not fair, then like I said, you are not a tree, move. I have moved.
Ashika, what I meant was, you are the boss and somebody is flattering to you.
So,
and then
okay. Yeah, I get it, when the person flatters, I get it because I don't do it myself. So I understand. So then I have that talk with them that I need to be fair with all. So I cannot be giving you are not the only person who might be. Okay, you are doing very well. You are my best performer, but you cannot take advantage of everything because rule is a rule, right? I have to be fair to everyone. So when some people come in late morning when they punch in, okay, I make it a point that I come early. I live the farthest. If I'm going to say central line, I would be one of the people who live the farthest. But if I can reach at 7:30, you cannot say that, okay, let me come at 8:10. So I model myself first so that I can tell them that, sorry, this is not done, and I cannot, give you a favor. And I understand that, like you said, Neelu, my friend always tells me, ki, you are an academic director, people might take advantage of that position, and, but then I get it, I understand,
Okay.
and I talk to them, and I'm very blunt.
Excellent. I think that was a very interesting perspective that you, one as a leader, also need to identify these people. And I think role modeling goes a long way. You do it, and then you can obviously expect your team to do likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ashika, for that. Okay, bullies. There are a lot, at all places, there are a lot of bullies. So how do we deal with bullies? And I now request Certain to let us know how do we deal with bullies at workplace.
Okay, so in this part section, what they have started with an example. They have given an example of two co-workers. So there was Cindy, whose work was to prepare the invoices. She used to only create the invoices. And there was the Diane. She used to create the invoices and hand it over to Diane. And Diane used to complete the work and she used to contact the customers. But Diane was the bully. She used to always single out Cindy and tell her that you are always submitting the invoices late. But actually, Cindy was a good worker and it was unfounded. The only thing which was lacking in Cindy was that she was not assertive. She was a silent, what do you say, who just take the whatever the bully is doing, no, take it quietly, because she Diane used to insult her just unwanted. She used to give her dirty looks, and then she used to say things just to put her down. And Cindy used to silently just listen, and then she used to try to ignore. She used to think that if she ignores the bully, Diane will stop, but Diane was not the person who would stop. So then Cindy used to think now what she should do. And but there was one co-worker who witnessed this and who told Cindy that you need to speak up for yourself and you need to confront the bully. So when Cindy decided that she wants to talk to the bully, so she took Diane's help. Okay, but before this happened, they explained who a bully is. So they said that a criticizer is a person who needs to criticize each and everyone. But the bully does not work that way. A bully singles out one single person as a prey, and continuously the bully is after that person, and they may need that person to do their work also, the prey to do the work. But then still they will just hassle that person. So this is how the bully works. So Cindy, when she got that feedback from the co-worker that you need to speak and you need to tell the bully that it needs to stop, no? So then she tried to work it out with that co-worker and to discuss how the conversations may go. So she practiced with her and then she approached the bully. So that was the first step, that think first, that you should be calm when you're approaching the bully, and you need to think and work out how the conversation would go. And then she just had to wait. She was just waiting that when the bullying starts, that time she will speak and she will tell that person, and she didn't have to wait long. So the second step was actually uh, gain a better understanding. But for a bully, there is no understanding. Just because they want to just peck that person, they do it. So there was no understanding which Cindy had to get, because she knew that Diane was just singling her out without any reason and she was just hassling her. So there was nothing to do about this. And the next step was that you had to define the problem. You have to know what is the problem it is that is happening. So the Diane came to her again, Cindy, and she said, Cindy, that I need the invoices now. Why it is taking so much time? Are you retarded or are you just a slow person? Then Cindy just stood up and she said that I have an important project at hand, which is of a higher priority. I will finish that first and then I will work on the invoices. And I will see that by early afternoon, I would give the invoices. Diane was very surprised when Cindy spoke like that, but she started giving her dirty looks. But still, Cindy didn't say anything. So she took the first step of telling that I need to do this work first, so I cannot do what you're saying now. And then the next step was 1 minute. the next step was that offer your best solution. So after she said that I will be giving you, and I will see that by early afternoon, if I have any other work, I will do that work first, and I'll see that each day by early afternoon, I will give you the invoices and see that your work is not affected because of that. And then the solution she gave was that I would like to request you that you stop talking to me like that, because I don't like it, because you don't teach me respectfully. And if you cannot do that, speak respectfully to me, then I would like you to not say anything at all to me, because I think that I don't deserve that you should speak to me like that. So that was the best solution she had offered. And then, but Diane didn't say anything and she just went away. So Cindy, the next step was to agree on a resolution. But Cindy was thinking that if Diane understands and she tries to stop behaving like a bully, then she would give a reconciliation thing for Diane. Cindy thought that she would offer a reconciliation if and when Diane stops acting like a bully. Okay, but then that was in the future. So what they are trying to say in this is that when you are confronting a bully, you need to maintain a calm and assertive behavior demeanor, and you have to speak confidently to the bully. And because Cindy had practiced it earlier with her co-worker, she was able to say whatever she wanted to say to Diane, and she said directly that I don't like how you are treating me, and in future if you can't speak respectfully with me, you don't speak. Okay, that was the step she had taken. And then they are just rounding it up by saying that what are the principles you need to follow when you're dealing with the bully. They said that first is you try to ignore the bully, because you may think that the bully will get tired because you are not responding, and then maybe it will stop. But if the bully continues behaving in this way, then you need to think that you don't deserve to be treated in this way. Okay, and then if suppose you are working in a formal atmosphere and you have certain procedures, then you need to talk to your boss or you need to talk to the human resources manager about this, so that the bullying stops. But if you decide that you want to confront the bully and you want to resolve whatever is happening and try to find no solution, then you need to first practice the conversation before you talk to the bully. And then when you're talking to the bully, you need to stay calm. And the most important thing that you need to tell the bully is that this behavior needs to stop. Okay, and if the bully doesn't stop, but you have to be assertive, and then you have to try to offer resolution how you want to be treated. And if suppose the person is not treating you properly, then maybe you don't interact with me like that. But still, if the bullying continues, so what the advice given is that you need to document each and every incident of the bullying that happens. And if there is a witness and the co-worker is a trusted one who is a witness, you need to talk to that co-worker and ask them whether they are willing to back us. If you are the prey, whether your co-worker who has witnesses is willing to back you. Okay, so you need to speak for yourself and you need to document the evidences, and then you need to take it to your boss or your human resources manager so that it is dealt with in a professional way. So you have to think that nobody deserves to be treated in this way, and nobody should silently bear whatever the bully is doing it, because we deserve better.
Thank you, Certain. That was very enlightening. Ashika, do you wish to add to it?
Yeah, I just remembered an incident when I was going to Bangalore for the Indus thing, MYP coordinators meeting. Okay, so while returning back, I was returning late in the night. Already it was like 10 o'clock when I landed in Mumbai, and there was this person who had a fight with the stewardess, okay, air hostess. So he said that you did not give me food. Actually, she gave him a non-veg food. He was a vegetarian, and then when he said that, okay, you gave me non-veg food, she said that I'm very sorry, I will give you I'll go and bring the veg food to you. But still he went on, complaining and complaining till we landed. Okay, this was like half an hour when we started off, and then he said, because she was looking northeastern, so he said that you look like a Nepali and you do like this, and he was just using all these discriminatory remarks. And when that was still, everybody was listening, okay, and they did not respond to whatever that Budi was trying to tell to the air hostess. Now, when we were going to land, the air hostess said that you need to keep your seat straight, right? Because he was reclining. He refused to do so. Okay, he said, no, I will not do it. You did not listen to me. Why should I listen to you? Where in the rules and regulation it is said that you have to, keep it straight? I will not do. And he went on screaming and shouting. Oh God, then it was too much. Okay, one person tried to say something, the person behind it, but still he was not listening. I got so irritated. I was sitting diagonally opposite. Okay, I just screamed at him and I said, stop behaving like a kid, okay, and stop throwing your tantrums. I've been watching you right from the half an hour from the flight taking over, and you went on complaining. You made those discriminatory remarks, and now you are putting everybody's safety at risk. I'm talking now because my life is in danger if you're not going to keep your chest straight, okay? And I will report to the police or whoever, the security of the airport. Then, listening me shout, there was another old person right in 2 seats in front of me. He said that one person, the lady who was sitting in between, beside him, she moved and she changed places, okay, because he was constantly screaming. He said that you did not see that old lady moved places, still you went on screaming, shouting. Here everybody is telling, and you are still bullying the air hostess. He went on. He said, FIR लिखूंगा, कोर्ट में ले जाऊंगा, I will see what you do. You have given me, मेरा धर्म भ्रष्ट करने की कोशिश की, and all those dialogues. He went on bullying that air hostess. Then we stopped. Air hostess said calmly, okay, we have dealt with this, okay. She said, we are going to complain now. If you are not going to sit properly, we are going to complain. And then they got that documents of complaint, because he said that he was threatening her कि next day मैं देखूंगा तुझे job मिलेगा, कि तेरा job रहेगा कि नहीं, and all that, those things, okay. So then she asked one person, she wrote the complaint, and she asked, anybody witness na sign कौन करेगा? There was the other person, the person who was sitting behind her, he signed. And then she came to me, because she was also looking northeastern, and I also looked similarly. She said, would you want to write as a witness? I said, yeah, give, I will sign. So I signed, and another half an hour it took after we landed to get the security in to take this person out. And when he was out, still he was grumbling and shouting and everything. Then once he saw the security people coming in, then he got a little nervous. Usko laga ki, haan, he was doing too much. And then they took him to the security. Then there also he was screaming and shouting. When we left and we went for the baggage, he was still standing over there and screaming and shouting. I told the security, please take him. Na, just put him under the jail mein leke jao ya kuch bhi karo na. He doesn't know how to behave, and it was discriminatory to say all these things. Na, you cannot. Agar tum chinky winky bolenge, to bhi I can complain. I can put an FIR and you can go into jail. And he did this, and he put everybody's lives in danger. So this was one instance of bully that I saw, who was trying to put his, force and everything, and say that मैं देखूंगा, मैं FIR लिखूंगा. Ultimately, I think he was taken by the police.
I think spoken and behaved like a true leader, Ashika. I think we need to stand up and also not just stand up when we are getting bullied, but also it's very important for people to support others when they are getting bullied, because some people are not very assertive, do not have that confidence. So yeah, that's an interesting episode. I also personally feel that this episode of bullying could be with adults or also with children, right? Especially when children come new to a school, or an adult. Since we're all teachers, I'm talking about school, but maybe in a neighborhood, and also with adults when they join maybe an office or a workplace when they are new, right? And then from experience, I can say that there are people who've been in the organization for a very long time. They tend to get into this kind of a trap where they get their work done through these new people, they treat them not very well, not too much with respect. So I think that that's a very good point where Certain brought out that, of course, you can talk, you can stay calm, you can get other people, but evidencing is very important. We talk about evidence-based practices in IB. Evidences aspects of bullying, whether through an email or an incident report, will go a long way later if the incident kind of escalates in the favor of the person who's getting bullied. I think certain times we don't consider that important, but I think that is very significant because you have your evidences to prove at a later date that you have been bullied. So thank you so much, Certain. Moving on to Antara, who will talk about these people who would like to do no work but take all the credit. And there are so many of them at all places. Over to you, Antara.
Yes, ma'am. So, like ma'am rightly said, the credit taker is someone who would take the credit of the work done by the team. And in the incident mentioned here, so there was Julie. Basically, when she had to have a meeting with the vice president, so what the entire team had done, so she only started explaining everything, and everybody else got offended that we also contributed to the work that she was like explaining and sharing with the VP, but she took all the credit of the work that we was done as a team. So the team was highly upset, and there was one person who, so they were talking amongst themselves, and Kyla was someone who said that let me go and talk to this person by myself. So something that I pick from here is that rather than if it is like a teamwork and if the entire team feels that somebody has taken the credit, rather than the entire team talking or one by one everybody going and talking to that person, let one person take the responsibility to go and talk to that person. And before going, you need to think first. So, again, those 5 steps have been followed here. So, what was the situation about? What is the person like? Is the person actually like this? Because here, Kyla also thought that Julie is not like that. Then why did she do something like that? What actually was going in her mind? What happened? So, think through the situation and then go and talk to the person. Another thing that struck me was that um, think of the time when you're going to talk to the person, because you're going to actually make the other person confront. So, and take them at a separate place rather than talking to them in front of everyone, because even they might get offended. Maybe out of just maybe the other person also didn't realize that she took all the credit. So, very important to think through the situation and then try and understand the perspective of the other person also using I phrases, explaining that how did the entire team felt, how did you feel, and try and gain a better understanding that Julie being not that kind of a person, why did she do that? Mostly what happened when we talk to credit takers, they do not agree to what they did. Maybe they would have done it on purpose also, still they would not agree. In this incident also, something very similar happened, that Julie did not in the first instance agree that, oh, really, did that you thought of that? So, but I don't think so. And I was the only person who could immediately start talking when the other person stopped talking. So, but here again, something very important. So when other person is not ready to accept, still you do not take a back step. You again talk to them and say, okay, fine, this thing happened, but the entire team now define the problem in a more detailed manner. You feel that you did not do it on purpose, but the entire team, or I am feeling like that you took the entire credit of the work that the entire team did, or maybe I did, maybe both, only maybe it could be like only 2 people had worked together, you and someone else. So do not take a step back. And when you're talking to her or the person who has taken the credit, again, you need to have a very neutral expression on your face. You need to be assertive, and again, you need to be very calm. Something that again struck me was having a neutral expression, which is very important, so that the other person doesn't feel that intimidated. then once the other person knows that yes, what you have been feeling and what the entire team would have been feeling, then offer the best solution or the resolution, and then make sure that next time it is not repeated. So offer the resolution once the other person accepts. So this was all about how you can deal with people who take the credit. But I think when I was reading all this, it is very easy what was to do. But when actually it happens, it is very difficult to implement because the person who has taken the credit will never ever accept that, no matter how much you try to confront or to use I phrases or that.
I
So,
know it is a difficult place to be in. However, I think so far that we've talked about all these kinds of people, and then I'm reflecting while everyone's talking, and I'm sure all of us are doing that. You can now in your workplace identify these people, right? In our heads that, oh, now I know this one's a bully, or that one's a brown noser, or that one's, a backstabber. I agree with you that it will not be easy to confront somebody who takes away all the credit. Um, maybe just my thoughts that if it's just two people working together and the other person takes away credit, you will have to deal with it very calmly and talk to that person. And if it's done repeatedly and you feel that that person, just doesn't stop, then as learned from our previous all these or previous discussions on bullies and brown nosers, maybe we can document it. Maybe we can, as certain said, maybe we can approach somebody else who's higher in authority, right? Also, if you're dealing in a group, I think you brought out a very valid point that if everybody goes and everybody feels that an X person has taken away all the credit, then instead of everybody confronting that person, I think the most calmer person in that group the team can plan together, and then one person go and talk to this person. But yes, there are all these people at every workplace. So I think this is an interesting book, and it is giving us lots of strategies to deal with such people. Thanks, Antara. I'll move on to Urmi now, who'll talk about the criticizer, somebody who's never too happy with anything.
Yeah, I will. There's another category of people called as criticizers. A criticizer is a person who will talk directly, and they can be sarcastic. They can use cheap comments and make the other person feel bad. Most of the time, people can be born criticizers who feel the need to criticize others all the time because they think that they're trying to help the other person, but they don't actually know how to screen out the best to offer help towards somebody. They also sometimes want to feel that they are much more superior than the other. The difference between a backstabber and a criticizer here is that the criticizers are
Is she frozen for everyone or just me?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
frozen. I think her
Everyone.
internet is weak.
Internet is patchy. Yes.
Oh, she went up.
Oh, she's left.
Yeah, she's joined. Yeah,
Oh, she's back. Maybe if you could turn off your camera, that'll help.
yeah.
Urmi.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Should I start over again? I don't know how much you heard. I was speaking. Didn't realize that it blocked out.
In between, a bits of it went off, but you're welcome to continue.
Okay.
You were comparing
speaking-
between the backstabber and criticizer.
Okay, I will continue from there. A backstabber is a person who does it not in front of others, and criticizers are generally the people who speak out loud. They are not at all shy, and they will talk directly to the person and criticize in front. Here, they start with a small case study between Mark, who is an experienced employee in the company, and Vince, who is a newcomer. And Mark has been seen in criticizing Vince a lot of times. The first time Mark had criticized Vince, Vince thought that it was okay and he didn't respond. He did it the second time and the third time, and then he did it in public also in front of others, shouting out loud, saying, "Why did you do that?" And Vince felt very bad about it, and he decided to do something about it. So the first thing that Vince did was he thought out what he is going to do. And he also tried to understand what was Mark's point of view or standing point, and why was he doing something like that. Then he asked for Mark for some time so that they can sit at a place and talk together. And he started the conversation thinking that he would try to understand Mark's point of view. But he went straight forward and he directly asked Mark, why was he getting criticized, and why do you call me up in front of the co-workers, and that he thought that it was completely out of line. Here, the most important thing to understand was the use of the I phrase, that he said whatever he felt from the point of view of his own. He didn't mention anybody else. He just talked about himself, how he felt when he was criticized by Mark. But Mark took it in a different way, and it said that he mentioned that he didn't think that it was a joke at all. To him, it was quite derogatory, and he would really like Mark to think about criticizing him again in that joking remark, because he doesn't feel very comfortable about it, and he wants his own respect to be in place. Mark and Vince, both of them agreed to a resolution that in the future they will count that Mark will speak to Vince in a very constructive manner, and they agreed on the resolution when they parted from there. Now, if we try to look into this approach, what Vince did, the first time somebody is criticizing you, you need
Looks like
also
Urmi,
understand the difference between when to criticizing can also be something which is positive and go ahead from that. But if the criticism happens again, and again, then you need to step up your foot and say what is really happening. You need to identify the problem first, validate that, yes, there is a problem and we need to improve on this. You need to talk to the person who is continually doing this or criticizing you again and again. And definitely, the person is doing it in front of others. Whereas when you are trying to confront the problem, you take that person in a separate room and talk to them separately, that you think that there is a problem over here which needs some rectification. I would suggest over here, as the book suggests, that we think about the conflict before we start conversing with the other person, so that you know exactly where you stand and what you expect from that conflict resolution. If you think the person is caught off guard when you are speaking and they just casually want to get rid of it, saying that it's just a passing remark or a joke, then you need to put your foot down and explain that this kind of behavior is not at all wanted, and it is quite derogatory and it needs to stop. Make the person understand why criticism is creating a problem for you is very important, and to step up to that problem to find a solution of resolution.
Thanks, Urmi. I think it was a little patchy, but well, thank you so much for your inputs. We'll move on to the Bharati now, who'll talk about the ethics violator.
Thank you. So, while there is no absolute right and wrong when we are working for an institution, we do know that there are certain company policies that we must comply with, and those become our ethical standards and ethical rules. So, the example that we have here talks about a sales pitch where an incentive was offered to a customer which was which was not included in the company policy, and uh, one character over Melanie, she overheard her colleague offer this incentive beyond the company protocol. And while she's not the boss, she's just another colleague and a peer. It is when we are aware of some ethical violation against the norms of the institute, it is our obligation to take action and to speak up and deal with it. So in such cases, the first step would be to maybe think first about the line of action, take a moment, uh, consider how we are going to take that conversation ahead. It take a moment to gather our you know uh, gather ourselves, not to come across as somebody with a superior tone. Uh, we are all together in the same position, but we are all working for the company, not for each other. So from that point, to gain a better understanding using I phrases, I heard about your conversation. This is how I got to know. So I'm talking to you directly to understand that this is what you have done. Why would you do that? What were you thinking? So when they reiterate, okay, so I understand this was your rationale behind doing it, this was your motive. However, it does not follow the protocol and it is a violation. So to be on that same page, using not just the verbal cues, but also the non-verbal paralanguage, body language cues that we picked up in the earlier chapters, practicing them and taking that conversation ahead. Thereafter, offering the best solution, in this case, to make sure that they would not repeat the violation again, to be on the same page that both of us understand that this is not right, this is not the right thing to do, and to elicit a response from the colleague who would then agree that it was, to reach that point of compromise, that it was not all right, and yes, it should not happen again. In our example, there is a further resolution and reconciliation that happens where Melanie tells her colleague to report the incident by themselves to their boss. In certain situations where the colleague may not, accept, may not be willing to take this ahead, it is then our obligation to take it ahead and report it to the right person in charge in an institution. So whenever we cross an ethical boundary ourselves, we also might want to report ourselves and face the repercussions. And when people around us are violating boundaries, somewhere or the other, it will affect us in the future, in the long run, and the work environment as well. So our loyalty is to the company and to the institution and to our profession. So be a bystander and speak up when violations happen.
Thanks, Bharati. That was very insightful. And you rightly brought about not just the verbal, but also the non-verbal aspect of communication, which we've all read about in this book. Now, coming to excessive emailer. First of all, let me ask you, how many of you have experienced this in this group? Somebody who sends too many emails, very wordy emails, copies everybody under the sun. So I can get a few nods here. Yeah. Yeah, we're all in this together, I guess. So what I'm going to talk about is how do you deal with somebody who's an excessive emailer? And when I talk about excessive emailer, it mentions that somebody who copies everybody on everything, you clicks on the reply all button, shares these kind of personal small group jokes with everybody. So somebody whose subject line is not very specific. So I'm getting hundreds of emails from this X person with not very specific subject lines. I, as a receiver, will have to go through the entire mail to understand what this person wants to communicate. And that could be at the expense of my time, time which is very precious. So it talks about the fact, again, it talks about those 5 stages where you first stay calm, you explain to the person with I phrases how I felt when, or how it takes away my time when I'm reading so many unnecessary emails from you. Define the problem very carefully. Understand the phrase of understanding, where you say that, okay, I understand that you want to share a lot of information, but maybe this information is not very pertinent for me. And so I do not need to get this information. You can also come up with a compromise where you say that, okay, maybe you only communicate business related emails to me or something very professional. I'm not very interested in knowing all those personal jokes. Come to a resolution and then reconcile to a resolution. The solution given here in this book is that you can either delete all the messages without reading. However, there is a catch. If you do that, sometime that same person may send an email which will be very informative for you or something that you will need. And if you constantly keep deleting all the emails sent from that X person, you may miss out on that important email. So deleting mails is not a great idea. Another suggestion here is to put a spam filter. Now, again, it is not a very great idea to do that, because then all emails sent from that person will get spammed. And again, you may miss out. So the best resolution to this problem is to directly talk to this X person and apply all the principles that we've spoken about so far. Be calm, think this through, use the right language, and of course, follow the 5 steps and come to a resolution. So with that, we've come to the end of our reading session. Ashika, I think we can stop recording here.